Welcome back to another video. In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up the DeepSeek API. We're just going to learn how to create a basic chat completion, and in this case, it's going to be a high quality recipe of your choice. So where a user can input what recipe they want, we send it over to DeepSeek. It then makes a recipe and sends us back the recipe on Bubble's front end. So I'll show you an example here. I want a lamb ragu pasta. Generate recipe, and if I was to make this app live, I would obviously have some sort of feedback on the front end for the user just to show that something's happening. Whether that could be an SVG, loader, spinner, you want to always give some feedback to the user to show that something's going on, because it takes a little bit of time to actually get this response back from DeepSeek. As you can see, the top blue bar on my screen here is the loader, and it's pretty ugly in my opinion. So yeah, you want to give some sort of feedback, and I've shown videos before on how to do that, to improve the quality of your application really. So as you can see here, we have a generated recipe. So it's the lamb ragu pasta recipe. Slow cooked, rich and deeply flavorful lamb ragu. Ingredients, the serving sizes, the instructions, and any tips that we might need. Combine and serve, cook the pasta. And yeah, just like that, we've just made a recipe and we've connected to DeepSeek's API services. Let's jump over to the actual API setup and I'll show you how to get it done. Alright, let's get into the API connector setup here for DeepSeek. So it's much like OpenAI in the sense that they have all their docs, they have all the completions and the different things you need to do. I'm going to walk you through step by step into how to do so. So first, on your Bubble app, let's go over to the plugin section here. You need to make sure you have the API connector installed. Let's go add another API. Let's call it DeepSeek. Authentication is going to be the private key in header, which means that we have our secret key hidden in the header. No one can access it. And that is all we need to do on Bubble's end for now. All right, now we need to head over to the DeepSeek website. So go into Google, type in DeepSeek, and it'll bring you to this website here. But we're not actually looking for anything here. We need to go to the top right to the API platform. Let's press that. And you need to go make an account on DeepSeek, and you need to have some either a credit card on file, or you need to have some funds in there just for the API tokens and the actual chat generation. So all I've done is I've put in $5 USD just on my card as a one-time payment. So you can go to top up here, and as you can see here, you can choose an amount, $5, $10, did $5 and be plenty just for videos purposes. So after you've made sure your account is topped up, we then need to go to the API key section here, and we need to generate an API key. So let's do that now. Generate a new secret key, and let's call it anything you want, Bubble, and go and copy that key and just copy that to clipboard. Once that's done, we need to actually move over to the documentation and see how we actually configure and set up this call in Bubble. So bottom left of the screen here, we have the docs. Let's go docs here, and this will take us to another page. So we have your first API call, and as you can see here, it says invoke the chat API. This is exactly what we need. And as I said, it's much like OpenAI. It's got all the stuff we need in this JSON body here. So let's get into it. Let's go back into Bubble and let's set it up. So the private key here, as you can see in the documentation, authorization is bearer with then our API key next to it, much like OpenAI. So we're going to go bearer, and we're going to paste in our secret key like so. And we need to add a shared header for all these calls. Where am I finding this? We have the header here, content type application JSON. I'll just add it as a shared header because usually you're going to have 2 or more calls when connecting to these services, and a shared header basically means you only need to set it up once. So it's really just saving time. So content type application JSON. Let's copy that and paste. And then let's go back into it here. And let's copy and paste just like that. All right, now that is all configured, the actual header of the call. We're going to go into the body and expand it. And let's just call this create chat completion. We're going to use this as an action because we need to action this in the workflow to make the data dynamic. And we're going to set this to post because we're sending data to DeepSeek and we're retrieving something back. So when you use a get call, it's just getting data. Post is we're sending data. Think about like posting mail. All right, now back in the DeepSeek docs, we have a URL here. We're going to copy that, and that's exactly the URL we need to paste into this post here. So once we've done that, we have that set up there. Now we need the actual body for the JSON body. So what are we sending to DeepSeek? Now back in the call, from this curly brace down to the bottom curly brace, don't worry about the quotation marks. We're going to hit copy, and then back in bubble, we're going to go paste as well. And here we have the actual JSON body call that we need to set up. So we have the model here, which is DeepSeek chat. That's fine. The messages, so the role, so the system, and the content is you are a helpful assistant. So basically, this is the prompt that DeepSeek is going off. Now we can make this dynamic and we can let the user decide what they want. So you can set it up on the front end for the user to say, I want a recipe assistant, or I want a shopping assistant, or I want a navigation assistant. It's really up to you. But for this video's sake, we're just going to create a recipe assistant. So I'm going to hard code it into this prompt here. So let's just say you are a recipe generation master. You will generate the highest quality recipes based on what the user asks for, like that. Now coming down here, we have the user and the content is hello. Now obviously this needs to be whatever the recipe the user wants, so this needs to be dynamic. So from the quotation marks to the other quotation marks, we're going to add in 2 carrots here like so, and this can just be prompt. And we've got rid of the quotation marks because if we had left them there, it would only return one object. We said we're sending, a user could say, I want a lamb ragu recipe that's 400 calories or 300 calories, and that needs to be basically like a string of data. So we're going to untick private, and we need to add them back in 2 quotation marks just for the setup's sake. And now let's say I want a chicken burger recipe. Quotation marks there, and let's include the errors in response and allow workflow actions to continue. And now let's go ahead and initialize this call. And what's it say? At line 5 column, yes, okay. And it is because for space, I'm pretty sure. I want a chicken burger recipe. So let's just quickly go and change this here. Let's just go like this and like this. And now we can remove these quotation marks. I just want to get this set up, guys. And let's remove that there. Let's initialize. It's expected. Okay. Yes. It is expected. Yes, okay. So I've deleted the content. So yeah, that makes sense. So we need to add that back in. I don't know why I've done that. Let's add that back in. Like so. And then if I initialize now, this should work. I deleted the content, not an accident, guys. Do not delete content, just do the user prompt. That is my fault. So once this is loading here, we need it, yeah. So obviously it takes a little bit of time in DeepSeek to set this up. So you need to show, as I said in the intro, you need to show some sort of UI feedback to the user to show that something is going on. Otherwise, they're basically just looking at a white screen for, you know, however long it takes. So show raw data. We have here the ultimate chicken burger recipe, juicy flavorful chicken burger. It's basically all set up here. Now let's go ahead and save that. Now I want to go back into the call and just delete these quotation marks like so, and then I'm going to come back here and add them into this like this, just like that, and we should be good to go. So that is the API call set up, guys. Let's move over to the UI on the front end and I'll show you how to get it set up, and we are nearly done. All right, now let's get into the UI and UX. So this is very basic UI in this video. In the intro, you can see I had a row layout with 2 columns, basically the input and the output. Let's go ahead and recreate that now. So I have a blank canvas here, layout 1200 default builder width, and I've got the background color as this gray F7, F7, F7. Let's grab a group here. Let's just call this group content. Let's make this a no min width, no min height, and let's untick fit height to content just for now. And let's add some padding of 96 top and bottom, 32 left and right. All right, now let's add another group to the middle here, just like this. And let's call this, we're going to say group input. Now this is basically going to be the actual form here. So let's just make this 280 just to show you a bit of visual here, guys. Background color, flat color of white, roundness of 8, with our border style of solid, and let's just make an EB on the border there. Now let's copy and paste that group, and then while holding shift, let's select both group elements in a row container, and let's call this group, let's call this group input output. All right, now on this, we want to set a max width on this group of 992. Let's center this, and then on the group content itself, let's align this to the center. All right, let's get that to the top there. And then back on the group input output, let's set some spacing of 48 on the column, like so. And let's just add a min height now of 576 just for the video example. Sorry, a min height on the group input. Let's just add 576, and let's just do the same on this just to show you and get a bit of space in here, guys. So like that, we have 2 inputs, right? Now on group input, let's add some padding all around of 32 all the way around. Let's do the same on the output, just like that. Now let's grab some text here, and let's just say recipe bot. Let's make that a heading 6, or we can go heading 5. Heading 5 is a bit better. Now let's add a multi-line input. So this is actually going to be how the user, you know, obviously says what they want and gets that generation from DeepSeek. So let's make them in with 160, bit of space, and then let's add a button here, guys. Let's just make that full width. We're at min height 44. That's perfect. The label can just be get my recipe. All right, now on the group input, let's go back to the layout column, and let's add some gap spacing. Let's just add, we can go 20, just like that. 20 on the layout, and now let's collapse the min height here, guys, like so, and it will collapse to the content within. And then on the group, we'll change this here to group output. We're going to add in some text here as well. Let's just call this generated recipe. And we can also make this heading 5 like that. And let's also add in 20 on the row gap, like so. All right, so what we're gonna do here is I'm just gonna store this response from DeepSeek in a custom state on the page. So the real way to do this when going live with the application would be to obviously create your data types. If you're setting up users, you need to save the message content, the response, you have the thread ID, all the different stuff. For this video's sake, I'm just showing you the easiest way to set up DeepSeek's text generation. So obviously it's not the best way to do it, or most safe way I should say, but it's just the easiest way and the quickest way to get it done. So let's add in some text here. And what we're going to do here now is up in the elements tree, let's go to the page, and I'm going to just delete this, and we're going to add in a custom state here. Let's just call this generated recipe, and the state type is going to be text, like so. All right, now we have that custom state set, and back on the text here, we just want to reference that now. So whatever your page is called, it's generated a recipe, just like that. All right, now what we also want to do here on this group output is we're going to collapse the min height to 0, and like that. And then we're going to set fit height to content on this group, like so. And as you can see, we basically have the same layout as we did on our intro. All right, from now, let's do the workflow here, guys. So get my recipe, let's go add workflow, and let's go down to the plugins here. It's going to be DeepSeek create chat completion. As you can see here, we have the body prompt. So that is what we needed to make this dynamic and not private, because if this was private, we would not be able to access this in the workflow. What we're changing this to is the multi-line input A's value, and we're going to format this as JSON safe. So basically that is just the value of this input here. All right, and then from the next thing, we're going to say set state of an element. Element is going to be the page. It's going to be our generated recipe custom state, and the result is going to be the result of step 1 DeepSeek's created body choices, first items, message content, and that will resolve blue, which means that is correct. All right, now let's go preview this. I'm going to remove the debug mode true. Now let's just say I want a chicken pesto pasta recipe. Let's get my recipe. This will generate and talk to DeepSeek. And once again, guys, best practice would be to have some UI feedback here for the user to let them know that something's happening. But as I said, I'm just showing you the quickest way to set up DeepSeek into your Bubble IO application. So blue bar loading at the top means something is going on, and what will be returned on the right is a beautifully generated creamy chicken pesto pasta recipe, just like that. And yeah, as I said, guys, that is the quickest way to set up DeepSeek. There's definitely better ways to do so, as I said, with the data structures and creating data, but I have plenty of videos on that on this channel. So if you're interested in that, go and watch them now. And thank you for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, comment, leave any suggestions in the comments below. I'm always happy to do that. Subscribe to the newsletter, as I'm showing tips that aren't on this channel. And I will see you guys in the next video.